Now, because y'all know I like to start right on time. So we'll get going. But yeah, welcome everybody. We'll introduce Nancy more formally here, but she is the face that you probably don't all recognize. So that is the great Nancy Dilts. I'm excited to get you guys to know her a little bit. Just a couple of quick announcements. I know you got the emails from me, and there's probably too many emails. We're trying to sort out how to do that more effectively. So thanks for your patience on that. We did, I don't think it was one of you, but somebody said, hey, here's how you can actually get the calendar thing to work. So I did figure that out. So now you'll just get the calendar invites. I was reluctant to do that because I know like when I look at the invite I got from somebody, I can see everybody else's emails and I wanted to protect that. But now I found the way to do that. So you'll all get the invites and not be able to see everybody else's email. So that's part one of getting figured out. And then with the renewals, just let me know if you have any questions on kind of how we're doing this thing going forward. But we'll do the like a weekly email, and people can opt in, opt out of that thing. But that'll be more of, hey, here's what's coming up. Here's the links if you missed it, just so you don't have to go out to the document. And that's where I'll share things like, hey, I learned this week, or we've got this potential speaking opportunity. So I'll try to consolidate all of that into one weekly email. If that's too frequent, we'll do something more like bi-weekly. But trying to just streamline it a little bit and kind of learn as we go. So thanks for that. Um, Reminder, we are recording, just so you have that. If you end up saying something, you're like, shoot, I don't want that in there. Let me know. I can always go and edit it and then take care of that. But just a reminder that we are recording. So let me introduce Nancy Dilts to you all. I think some of you maybe are familiar with the name. Maybe you've met her a little bit. I know Aaron, I think, has had some connection.
Yes, Aaron and I know each other. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So Nancy,
Nancy's great.
in my deepest state of desperation regarding fashion and wardrobe, I reached out to Nancy. Just for context, I hate shopping. I hate the fact that clothes are a thing. Well, I mean, I like the idea that clothes are a thing. I hate the idea that you're supposed to look a certain way. And so most of my life as an actuary, I could get away with not looking the part. But as I got into speaking, I realized more and more that actually is branding and how you appear and how you appear on stage is a thing. And I reached out to Nancy saying, I hate all of this. Please help me. And she was incredibly gracious. I worked with her for about a year. We had a program where she came over to my house and she would go through my closet, identifying things that I needed, things that I didn't need. And then she would take me shopping, and it's exactly how it sounds. And just so you know, Nancy was also very gracious because she agreed to shop the way that I shop with my family, which is about every 5 years. I stand in the dressing room and they throw stuff over the thing and they say, try this on. I hate it so much, but Nancy was so patient and she actually got me to a place where I feel more confident in what I wear on stage, off stage. I don't know if she approved of this. I didn't get it pre-approved. But seriously, just the confidence of knowing that, and she was very good at working with me, meeting me where I was. And so that's kudos. Thank you, Nancy, for all of that. So I thought, well, what better people to introduce her to than people that are not as reluctant to look at clothing as I was. And so she could probably take you further than she could take me, which was a big step in that direction. So anyway, I can't say enough about her, who she is as a person, her focus on sustainability as well as part of this process, and not just throwing money out there to answer the solution, but finding out the right answers to things. And she did take me to the different sustainable secondhand stores. And as part of that process, I have shoes that I love now that are comfortable, but I also have my $10,000 suit, which is the suit she said,
Yes, you
this is the
do.
one you're going to wear when you get that first $10,000 talk. So I'm ready for that. But anyway, enough rambling on about that. Let me just turn it over to Nancy. I know she's got a plan for today as far as just sharing some things, like presentation, and then we got three hot seats lined up, and then we'll have some time for just open Q&A as well. So Nancy, you can let them know if it's okay if they ask questions in the middle or if you want to chat and all that, but I'll just stop talking and turn it over to Nancy.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Steve, and thank you for that really nice intro because we had such a good time together, working together. And that $10,000 suit, I keep telling you, just go ahead and wear it to manifest the $10,000 talk. And the suit did not cost $10,000 by any
Oh,
means. So,
no.
but it was a very, very expensive suit. I wouldn't be surprised if it actually cost $5,000 that we found for under 1,000, which is kind of incredible.
Yeah, I think it was
So
just a couple
it's
hundred
a
bucks or
really nice
something.
suit.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
have worn it. I have worn it in full disclosure.
Yes, you
And I do have
have.
my
And
first
it
$10,000 event coming up, so I will be wearing it for that. So it's all because
that's
of
so
what
great.
it's all because you made it happen.
I'm so glad for you. You made that part happen.
Hmm.
Congratulations. That's
Thank you.
amazing. All right, well, we'll go ahead and dive in. I'm going to share my screen now and let's see if I can do it as well as I did it when we were practicing. All right, can everybody see that?
Looks good.
Okay.
Yep.
And Steve mentioned the chat, and yes, there are going to be some questions that I'm going to be asking you as we go throughout the talk. And for ease, I'll just have you answer them right in the chat, and then we can talk about them. If there is something, because there's not a whole lot of us today in the group, if you have something that you want to ask a question about as I'm talking, you're more than welcome to do that. But also we are going to have time for Q&A at the end, and it is possible I might, I'll just tell you if you have a question, I'll just say, hold on, I'll definitely be talking about that later. But let's go ahead and dive in. So, you are your brand, especially as a speaker. You, as a human being, you're the product. You are the person that is representing everything about what you are doing. And so today I'm going to be talking about dressing for impact specifically on the stage. And this actually bonus, it plays out into the rest of your life as well. But it is really, it's a very powerful tool. Your clothing can really, really either amplify what you're trying to convey and truly empower and make the message that you are bringing to the stage and to your audience actually that much powerful, or it can actually hinder the power of your message. And so that's what I'm going to be talking a little bit about today. And as Steve said, I am a sustainable wardrobe consultant. I have a master's in environmental policy, and I had a first career in environmental education and community outreach. And I am now this November, next month, celebrating my 12-year anniversary at Nancy Dilts Wardrobe Consulting. But that first career was all about thinking about environmental issues and making people more aware about their impact on the environment. So when I started my business, it was really important to me that it be done sustainably. And I will be talking with you about that a little bit later in the talk, because not only is it environmentally sustainable to take my approach to building your wardrobe, it is also more economically sustainable, as Steve mentioned. And so it's a really great way to build a professional wardrobe, especially if you're starting out as a speaker and not getting those $10,000 talks yet. It can really make a difference in building a wardrobe that is very quality clothing, but not breaking the bank to do it. So I help gender or people of all genders and identities to feel great about how they look. And as I said, I use an economically and environmentally sustainable approach. I do believe that all people deserve to and can look fantastic in their clothes. And that is the kind of the mission of the work that I do, is that I really do believe everyone deserves to feel and look amazing. And finding the right clothes can help you do that. So this is where we're going to get interactive. And what I would like you to do is, when I go to the next slide, I want you to choose a hat. Don't overthink it. Just choose the one that grabs you first. And you can just type into the chat the letter that corresponds to the hat. And then we're going to talk about how you'd feel if you were wearing it right now. So in the chat, put the letter of the hat and then say how you would feel if you were wearing it in this meeting right now. So here we go. All right, take a moment, look and see.
Oh, I know which one Sherry's gonna pick.
So Erin chooses F. Melody chooses A because it would make her feel sassy. Yeah, do say how it would make you feel. Steve says F because he feel kind of cool. Catherine says B. That's my old life. Ha ha. Oh, yeah. Okay. I want to hear more about that.
Yeah.
Anne says H, happy and excited. And Sean says C, sporty and athletic. Erin says that so she chose F and that she would feel casual out for fun. And Sherry says C because
Yeah.
it's a baseball hat, although not really into the gold. Okay, it's good to know what you like. All right, so now I want you to type into the chat, how might that hat affect you if you were wearing it on stage? Oh, and Karen says mysterious. G, definitely. A top hat is definitely mysterious. Okay, so Catherine says
Hmm.
typecast if she wore that on stage. That's
Hmm.
interesting. Sean says he that feels like that is it Sean, are you a man or a woman? I'm sorry, I can't see well enough to see your picture. There you are, Sean, you are a man. Okay. Sean says that he would feel a little too casual. Melody says interesting and fun. Sherry says approachable but weird because it's gold. Okay, so no gold, clearly. What else? Anybody else? Oh, Steve says maybe a little imposter syndrome, maybe. Like not who I am, but who I would want to be. Interesting. All right. Okay. Thank you for those responses. So,
You
clothing.
gotta see Anne's comment she just put
Oh,
in.
I'm sorry, I missed it. Thank
Just
you. Thanks,
happened.
Steve. H said, so H, let's go back to that slide. H may be seen as attention-seeking and eccentric, which when you're on the stage, that's not, unless you're a
Hmm.
comedian or something, that's probably not exactly what you'd be going for. Exactly. Okay. Clothing influences your thoughts. Clothing influences your behavior. It can even influence your decisions. So, what if I told you that the secret to enhancing your confidence on stage, and with the added bonus of reducing your environmental footprint. That secret is hanging in your closet. Today, we're going to be talking about how clothing impacts you. I'm going to be sharing 5 strategies for dressing for impact and talking a little bit about how clothing impacts the planet. So first, we're going to talk about how clothing impacts you, because I feel like this is the most important part of clothing and why Steve mentioned, yes, I like clothes because I have to put them on. Obviously, we have to get dressed so that we can leave the house and not be arrested. But it can actually do so much more for you than that. And that's what I'm going to be talking about. So, first, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story. So, since I was a very small child, even well before puberty, when I was really little, I remember I was very shy. I've gotten less shy as I've gotten older, but I wanted to disappear into the woodwork. And I would hide in my clothes. That was an extension of wanting to disappear. I literally wanted to be a wallflower. And I had so much shame around my body. And that came from messages that I received, particularly from my mother, but then also I'm Generation X and the media and marketing in that time. It was absolutely a culture of you had to have a very particular body type, especially as a woman, to be considered beautiful, and anything else was ugly and needed to be fixed. And so I wanted to disappear. I had my daughter when I was 36 years old, and I realized that I did not want her to have the shame around her body that I had carried with me all the way into adulthood. And so I decided that I actually needed to make some changes for myself. Because if you've had a child and have raised a child, you know that, yes, they may listen to some of what you say, not all of what you say, but a lot. But they absolutely are watching everything that you do. And so I knew that I needed to model to her positive body image for myself so that she would see that same and sort of absorb that same approach to how she saw her own body. So when she was a toddler, this was long before I started my business, when she was actually an infant, I started watching the show What Not to Wear. Put a Y in the chat if you ever watched that show back in the early 2000s with Stacey London and Clinton Kelly. It was just a fun show, reality TV about, Anne did, Melody did, awesome. Catherine did, Sherry, excellent. So you know what I'm talking about. So Stacey and Clinton were the hosts, and it was a really fun show. It's reality TV, so some of it was over the top and ridiculous, but it was really clear that Stacey in particular cared about the people on the show, and she wanted them to feel good about themselves. And so this was long before I was considering starting this business, but I started to make some of the changes. They had style rules with the show, and I started practicing some of those style rules, hoping that it would help me to feel better about myself. And without even making a single change with my body, I realized that, I started to like my body better. I felt better and more confident in how I was showing up for things. I actually increased my confidence even in my professional life. To the point of where I was, standing up for myself in situations that were toxic and pushing back on things that I knew weren't right. And I never would have had the confidence in the past to do that. And I was not changing myself per se, but I was changing my whole mindset around myself and building my confidence and finding my voice and finding my worth. And that happened simply by changing my clothes, the clothes that I was wearing every day. And that was transformative. And so that brought me to starting this business. And I wanted to amplify my purpose. I found this was my mission. I wanted to help other people to feel better in their clothes and to see that you can use them as a powerful tool to reach the goals that you have in your life, whether they be for your work or just in how you're showing up for the world as a human being. And then, as I began my business, I developed my own style rules, and I'm going to be sharing those with you now. So, sustainable style rule number one is to believe in enclothed cognition. So, type a Y in the chat if you've ever heard of this phrase before, enclothed cognition. Steve and Aaron might have heard of it, but I would love, oh, so yes, Steve says yes from you. We're going to talk about it because I think that every person on earth should know about this. So, enclothed cognition is the psychological and behavioral influence clothing has on the wearer. In other words, what you wear influences your confidence and sense of well-being, both positively and negatively. So in 2012, before I actually started my business, but after I had experienced enclothed cognition, this term was coined by a psychologist, Adam Galinsky, who worked at Stanford University at the time. And he and his team did psychological studies that showed that what you wear actually impacts your brain chemistry and changes your overall feelings of confidence and your sense of well-being. So that means that what you are putting on your body can help you to feel better about yourself and more confident, or it can actually undermine how you are feeling. And as I said, when I was doing the style rules of what not to wear, I actually experienced this without even knowing what it was. And when I learned about enclothed cognition, I was like, this is exactly what I'm doing. This is what I am doing with my clients and what I have experienced myself. And I was so grateful to have a phrase to use to talk about it because it's just amazing. And so, okay, so Steve says here, I will admit I sort of rolled my eyes when I first heard this, but now I completely believe it. It even changes what I choose to wear at the poker table. It's very fascinating, in my opinion. Actually, I think it would be really important at the poker table because you have to, you have to own your confidence, especially with the poker face and doing all the things that you need to do to really play well at poker, you need to feel utterly confident, and clothes can make a difference with that. Thank you for sharing that. So many of us underestimate the power of clothing. So type a Y in the chat, or you can even just raise your hand if you have heard the phrase executive presence. It's something that is talked about a lot in the business world, but I actually believe, so yes, people are saying yes. I actually believe that executive presence applies to everyone. It doesn't really matter what your job is, or even if you aren't employed. I think it applies to your personal life as well because executive presence is actually the mindset that you have around being the leader of your life. You know, people think of it for the C-suite because they're the leaders of a company. But when you think about it, actually, if you have your own speaking business, you are the CEO of your company and you are the CEO of your life. And so having executive presence is a way to think about who is it that I want to be and how do I want to convey that? Because when you are conveying executive presence, you are showing others who you are and want to be. And so clothing is a huge part of that. You can use that as a tool to have the presence that you wish to have. So there are multiple slides throughout my talk that have the little orange circle that says nuggets from Nancy. These are actual tips and strategies for you to take away. So I want you to pay close attention to these because these are things that you can implement into your existing wardrobe or as you are building your wardrobe to make a wardrobe that reflects who you are and works well for the message you want to convey as you are showing up. So the first nugget from Nancy is show you care. Being intentional about your clothes doesn't just help you feel better, although that is the most important element, because when you feel better about yourself, everything else about you gets better. And so that is a really important thing, but it also helps you to be taken seriously. And that is, as a speaker, that's the primary thing that you want to have happen. Even if you are speaking with a comedic flair or, you know, you're bringing joy and entertainment to your audience, you want to be taken seriously in what you are doing. So, how often are you saying these to yourself? I don't know what to wear on stage. Is my style outdated? Or, oh my gosh, I'm totally overwhelmed by my closet when you're trying to dress for the different things that you have in the work that you're doing. What if instead you were saying these things? I look forward to dressing up for work and life. I'm investing in myself and it's paying off. My style reflects my personality perfectly. Think about the impact, how that would impact your overall mindset and how you're showing up, including on stage and including how you're representing your business. You're thinking about when you're meeting with event planners and the different things that you have to do. You never know when you're going to meet a person who might invite you to their company to speak. And so this is where that executive presence throughout your life comes into play. And it doesn't mean you have to dress up all the time. It just means that you are thinking about what you're wearing and dressing intentionally for the context you're in. And we're going to talk about that more. Okay, here we go. So now we're going to type in the chat again. I want you to name a professional event or situation that you're looking forward to this quarter. How do you want to feel and why? So type that into the chat. Or if it's faster and you don't mind going off mic, you can talk too.
I'll throw one on audio. I think I'm doing a big event in Vegas, and the speaking part is fine, but like I'm going to be there for a couple of days networking and having opportunities to kind of connect with a bunch of other people. And that's an area that I'm usually pretty much a sluggard in. And so for me, I want to feel confident, but yet comfortable, I guess.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, and then some others have put in, so Erin says she's going to be on stage and she wants to feel confident. Anne says she's going to the leader collab. She wants to feel professional, positive, and empowering. Erin says networking, authentic, and professional casual. Yep, all of these contexts, and you're going to dress differently for them. Sherry says a presentation that she's doing in November. Karen says a presentation to a local group, and I want to feel confident. Sean says, for formal, meaning organized networking groups, I'd like to dress business casual. So it's really good that I love that you're able to articulate what you want to feel about these contexts, because when you have that, then that leads you to being able to choose intentionally what you want to wear for them. So Melody says, several stages and a forum of executive women workshop, confident, comfortable, and approachable. Absolutely. Excuse me. I'm getting a little weird thing in my throat. Okay. So now that leads us to sustainable style rule number 2. Be true to yourself. I firmly believe that you do not need to fit the clothes. The clothes need to fit you. And I mean that both physically. Do not try to either squish yourself into clothes that don't fit you well because you are very strongly connected to a letter or a number on a label, nor should you swim in clothes because you feel nervous. So there's the physical part of it, but there's also the psychological part of it. I think it is incredibly important to feel authentic in your clothes. And you can do that and be dressed appropriately for whatever context, excuse me, for whatever context you are in at the same time. And that is what it's all about for what I do with my clients. That is my approach to wardrobe consulting, is to be true to yourself. And I will give you guidance in that, but you need to feel like you. You don't need to embrace trends unless they feel resonate with you. And this is especially important on the stage because authenticity is your most powerful asset. And your clothing is a part of that because you can use it as a way to reflect your authenticity. And how we do that is to start with the physicality of clothing. It's really important to figure out what things are really important to you in terms of how clothing feels on your body. So, comfort, function, is it soft enough? Don't want to dry clean things. Do you have allergies to fabrics? When you're on stage, do you sweat a lot? Do you move around a lot? Do you need to be able to move and be really comfortable while you're doing that? Sometimes people will even move through the audience. So you need to be able to do that. Knowing all of those things about yourself and for what you're going to be doing in either on stage or in the other contexts that you're working in, that will set you up for success. Then we move on to style, and we really try to clarify what you want your style to be. Most people have a blend of styles. It's not just one. But we start with different examples, like classic, or do you want to be edgy? Do you want to be preppy and colorful? Do you want to be sort of quirky and cool and have a different element that is interesting on stage? Do you want to have really chic, clean lines? All of those things are things to think about when you are choosing the clothes that you want for the style that you want to have, for your personal style. And it can be really exciting to explore that. And you can actually move on beyond what you've always done to think about, how do I want to elevate my style? Or what do I want, what message do I really want to convey for me? And notice that in these examples, all of the clothes are bold and simple because especially when you're on stage and under the lights, you don't want to have busy patterns or small patterns because they can either strobe or be muddy. So, or if you're being videoed, you definitely don't want to have a really like stripes are terrible for video. And paler colors can be kind of washed out. So you wanna be thinking about all of that when you're dressing. And Steve says, Nancy helped me figure out navigating being a massive sweater. Yes, we did figure that out. And Sean says, you might cover this question later, but being fairly new to the speaking industry, do event planners have dress standards or requirements based on the audience or industry you're addressing? That's actually a question that you should be asking because and if you know that your audience is going to be all, usually I would say if you're going to be speaking to all corporate executives, it's probably going to be at a retreat and they may be maybe dressed more casually. But if you know that everyone in the room is going to have a suit on, then you absolutely should wear a suit. But you wanna ask the event planner, what is what's the dress code for this company? What is, is it a retreat where people are going to be wearing t-shirts and jeans, and maybe you don't want to wear a suit that day, but you want to still be polished because you want, again, to be taken seriously. So those are excellent questions to be thinking about. So then next, it's thinking about finding good fit for your body. I mentioned to you, don't be married to the number or the letter on the tag. Good fit, no matter your body type, your height, your weight, your age, any of that. None of that is what is important. Finding good fit for your body looks amazing on any type of body. And when you find that, and I call it finding good balance of lines, when things skim the lines of your body, meaning that they're not too tight or not too big, it makes a really big difference in looking amazing. And that is what I'm working with my clients to find is that good balance of lines and helping them to understand that so that they know what is going to work well for them. Because when you find that it feels good, you look at yourself and you're like, man, I look good. And then that is what you're conveying to everybody else because you don't have to be worrying about, do I look okay? Am I up here looking weird? And people are looking at me and being like, oh my gosh, that person looks terrible. You don't want to have to be thinking about that stuff. You want to get your clothes on, and then you are focused completely on the work that you are doing. Okay, so let's see. I just want to see. Steve says every event planner has no reaction to asking that question. And they appreciate it. Yes, because it shows that you care. That's great. Okay. So that leads us to sustainable style rule number 3, dress for the role that you want. Yes, we are dressing for ourselves and doing that with authenticity, and we are dressing for others. So you want to make it count. And as I said, you do not have to be dressed up in a suit or really dressed up fancy for every talk that you give. It's just that you want to be aware of what message you are conveying and to whom and in what context you are conveying it. So it actually takes 7 seconds or less to make an impression on a person. And so that means that you will make an impression before you have opportunity to even open your mouth. Even as a speaker, when you're coming onto stage, they are making an assessment about you before you've said a word. And some research shows that we determine someone's traits in 1/10 of a second. That is a biological, hardwired fight or flight response to make sure that we are safe. And so obviously, if you're watching a speaker up on the stage, you're not doing a fight or flight response, but we are hardwired to make an immediate assessment. So you want what you're wearing and how you are showing up to have that impression be as positive as it can be. We are all being assessed before we say a word. And thinking about the different contexts. So you're speaking, you might be in a small group speaking, you're at a meeting with event planners or a meeting with a collective or, doing a collaborative with other speakers. The attention you pay to your clothing reveals a lot about you because I say it several times throughout this talk. You are your brand. How you show up makes an impact on yourself and others. So raise your hand or type Y in the chat if you've ever heard the phrase dress for the room. And this is where I've mentioned knowing your context. Yes, you want to dress according to your audience and with intention. And so if you're dressing for C-suite executives, you're going to dress differently than if you're dressing for a nonprofit conference. Or I know Steve speaks, he often will go and speak to teachers at schools and sometimes even students. And so, he's going to dress differently for those talks than he would to a corporate event. And so that's something that you always want to be thinking about and making sure that you have the right clothes for all of those contexts so that you are ready for the different engagements that you have. So this, of all the little nuggets from Nancy, this one is the one that I want you to remember the most. First, because it's the easiest thing to do, and it is the most important because it has so much impact. So it's called the third piece rule. A third piece means that you have to have a top and a bottom to be dressed and legal to leave the house. If you're wearing a dress, the top and the bottom count as the first and second piece together. And then you want to add a third piece. And so that could mean a piece of jewelry or an accessory. It also can mean adding a jacket, like a sport coat or a blazer. It can mean adding a pocket square. That is actually one of Steve's signature third pieces, is he has a variety of pocket squares that we bought together so that he puts a different pocket square according to what talk he's giving so that it sort of reflects to be on brand and for his message. And so you can have a lot of fun with that. You can have a cool watch. You can do a scarf. You can do jewelry. You just want to make sure if you are wearing jewelry that it's not going to conflict with the mic that you're wearing. So you don't want earrings to bang against a mic or a necklace to bang against it. So you want to just take all of those different things into account when you are choosing them. But a third piece can also convey part of your brand or your culture or identity. It can be you can choose fabrics. There's all kinds of things that you can do to further your message as you are on stage. Another thing that's super important is that shoes make or break the outfit. It is really, really important to wear polished, refined shoes when you are speaking. Because, we are in Minnesota. I don't know, some of you may not be from Minnesota, but in Minnesota, from 6 months out of the year, the weather can be very messy, and it's very easy to just wear your sloppy winter boots all the time, or just wear very functional shoes that will have good traction and are not, are going to get you where you need to go, and they can get dirty easily. When you are on stage, you want to think about what you are wearing from head to toe because they can see it, especially if you are elevated. They are going to see your feet. And so you want to make sure that they are polished, in good condition, and if they are refined, it elevates the level of dress to have more refined shoes. One nice thing that came from the pandemic is that it has become very acceptable to wear nice sneakers now, and we leather in particular because it is more polished. And we did get Steve some nice polished leather sneakers that he wears while speaking you can even wear them with a sport coat and jeans, and you'll look great. So, and that goes for women as well. It's a really nice opportunity to not have to wear high heels. You can definitely wear them if you wish, but you don't have to. But again, thinking about what your context is. But I'm just saving you from yourselves that you do not have to sacrifice style for comfort, and frumpy shoes can drain the power from your outfit. And people, they may not articulate it, but they do notice if someone is wearing something sloppy.
Hey, Nancy, I made a comment that you can disregard, but I buried Melody's comment, which maybe you could address.
Okay, absolutely. Melody asks, and someone said, Catherine said she wears a signature color. Awesome. Melody, how do you know how to scale jewelry? As a smaller person, I struggle with that. So when you're on stage, Melody, I would say, so again, thinking about you don't want it to, if you're wearing a mic, you just want to make sure it's not going to bang against the mic. So if you know that and that's something that you could also ask your contact or event planner is, are you going to be wearing a lapel mic? Are you going to be wearing a headset? Find out what it is that you're going to be wearing so that you can choose accordingly. Because earrings will bang against a headset, and a big chunky necklace would bang against a lapel mic. So but I would always go bigger when you're on stage because if it's too small, the audience won't really be able to see it. You won't want to have something that's too sparkly if you're under lights because it might, cause flashing that could be distracting, but colorful could be good. And I would go bigger rather than smaller so it can be seen. If you're in a smaller venue, or you're in a small group, you don't have to go so bold. But I don't really, I don't want something where you feel like it's detracting. If it's so big, it's detracting from your face, then that's too big. But I don't really agree with the fact, that smaller women can't wear bolder things because I really do think that you can. And that shows confidence to wear bolder things. I hope that
Okay.
helps you.
Thank you. It does.
Yeah. And then Steve says, I used to have two pairs of shoes, tennis shoes, and for everything else, shoes. I love your comment, Steve. Now I have choices, which is weird but awesome, and it really makes a difference. It really does. Shoes can be a superpower. So I really do feel passionate about shoes. So also color, style, and structure. So structure is super important as well for your outfit, especially when you are up in front of people. So a blazer or a sport coat will immediately add structure because it has seams at the shoulders, and it's also they are typically made from a woven fabric. So a button-up shirt is also made from a woven fabric rather than a knit shirt. So that is instantly going to up your level of dress, and providing structure to your body defines the lines of your body better, which again, it gives you a more powerful presence, and it allows the balance of lines of your body to be more confident. It's sort of, I call sport coats and blazers power pieces, and also bold colors is like if you are, if you wear red, especially for women, wearing red can be a power color. Wearing a really bold print can be a powerful way to convey confidence. Again, those smaller prints get muddy and can be stroby. So a bold one, sort of like what I'm wearing today, if you can see it, I can't really see myself right now with all the screen sharing, but wearing a bold pattern will again convey confidence, strong jewelry as well, a bright pocket scarf, or what, I just lost my word. Steve, what is it called? A
Square.
pocket square. Thank you. I knew that it wasn't scarf.
It's a
Yes.
pocket
So all of those
scrunchy,
things.
scrunchy.
Yeah, you scrunch it in there, a pocket
Yeah.
square. But all of those things are showing your intention in dressing, and that you care about what you're doing while you're working, and showing who you are. And all of those things are to your advantage. Okay, so now type in the chat, or if you want to do by audio, tell about a time that you felt uncomfortable because your clothes didn't fit a situation or a role. You were like, oh my gosh, this is not right. And don't be shy because we've all been in it before,
One.
including me.
I'll share one.
Okay.
Okay, so just so everybody knows, I am a big James Bond fan. And back in 1995, when they released Goldfinger or Goldeneye, I'm sorry, and that was Pierce Brosnan's very first outing as
Yep.
James Bond, I managed to get tickets to the world premiere at Radio City Music Hall. And I just went because to me it was going to a movie, and I showed up in jeans and a t-shirt instead of the world premiere. I should have at least had a suit, but it was black tie, and I just wasn't expecting that. They had all the main cast there, and I felt very out of place. So that one,
Yeah.
whenever I read this question, I laugh because I think of that very embarrassing moment 30 years ago.
Yes, it was seared on your brain.
It
And
is,
and
yeah.
I will say it is always better to be overdressed than underdressed.
Agreed.
Always. Yeah. Anyone else? Anne says, my first speaking at local event, my clothes were too tight and I was constantly touching my clothes. Yeah, that does not feel good. I'm sorry that that happened, Anne. And yeah, it is. It's really important to allow yourself the time to consider the clothes that you need. Don't wait till the last minute. Make sure that you have your outfits sorted really well ahead of the time of when you're speaking so that you can make sure that it's all going to work properly, because honestly, I don't know about y'all, but my weight is fluctuating all the time too, so you don't want to wait till the last minute. Steve says, agree with Ann on the too tight thing. Yikes, when too tight because of pride, I was self-conscious the entire time. And that's where it's like, don't look at the numbers or the letters. Good fit is what looks amazing. And it actually, and I don't like talking about saying that it will make you look slimmer, because I don't like that language because I think it's shaming. But it actually, when your clothes fit you well, no matter the number or the letter, that that makes you look your best. And and people, you will get compliments. People will like, oh, you look so, and what the compliment will be would be like, oh, have you lost weight? Because, and it's really incredible what it makes. And not that you need to lose weight, but it's really, really important. So don't wait till the last minute. That's another, I should put that as another nugget. Okay.
I have a
So anyone
quick,
else let's go back. I want to make sure. Are any other
I just have a
stories?
quick question. This is
Yes.
Melody. So I am very sensory about my clothes. So if things are really structured, like jackets, I always sort of am in this, and I don't like button-down shirts. Like I have a lot of things that make me feel cringy. And how do I work around that and still feel put together, but not constricted?
Okay. So I would say that you don't have to wear a button-up shirt. You could wear a knit tee under a structured jacket, which can be, so actually the blazer I'm wearing today is knit, but it has structure. So the
Okay.
fabric is softer, but there are still shoulder seams and lapels, and it tucks in at the waist and has a button, just like a blazer. And so it gives that structure, even though it is knit. I also, you can wear fluid fabric blouses rather than cotton,
Okay.
silk or polyester, so that it has a little more movement and might not feel as constricting. And then tucking it in, but it still will have movement. So defining your body, but without feeling confined. Because if you do feel constricted, and that's what I ask clients is, does it just feel, you know, closer fitting than what you're used to, or does it feel where you're constricted? And if it feels constricted, then that's not good because that will show. And so you want to make sure that you are thinking about that. And your comfort is important, but there are ways that you can do it without, and still look professional.
Okay,
Okay, so
perfect.
let's
Thank you.
see. I thought somebody popped something else in there, but no. Okay,
Oh, I have
go
something,
ahead,
Nancy, just real
Sherry.
quick. I was an auditor at one point, and everybody loves auditors already. And there were a couple times when we'd go visit a client, and the client might be wearing jeans, but we had to dress up a little bit. And
Right.
I felt like I didn't like that because I felt like, okay, they already didn't want us there. And then we look like we're trying to be, I don't know, like a step better
Authoritarian
than
or
them or
something.
something. So
Yeah.
yeah, right. So I think I've just always kind of had that in my mind and make sure I don't dress up too much in some situations.
So there are ways that I'm a big fan of, especially because things have really gotten to be business casual now. And so, even in corporate companies, it's really business casual. And, I would say law firms are really the only place that has not fully changed. There are executives that still wear suits, but even in the C-suite, it's not very often. And so wearing dress jeans, which they are dark wash and there are no distress parts on them, and they are the correct length for you and fit you well, and then a blazer or sport coat and a nice top, and then dress shoes. So for men, that means lace up dress shoes or good quality sneakers. Or it also, and then for women, it can be heels, it can be polished boots, it can be flats. There's all different types of shoes that you can wear, but that can be a approachable but professional outfit at the same time. That can be a go-to for networking, for meeting with event planners, for all different things. And it can be even for on the stage, depending on the audience and the context. So Steve says, the darker the jean, the dressier the look. Yes, that is a Nancy nugget.
There's a few things I've tried
It,
to hang on to.
Yeah, thank you. I amuse myself with the Nancy nuggets from Nancy. So yeah. Okay. Anyone else have any other stories that they haven't shared yet? Okay, we'll go on. How clothing impacts the planet. So, as I said, I had a first career in the environmental field, and so there's no way that I cannot talk about this because it is so important. And not only is it important for the environment, but it is really helpful for your pocketbook. And so it's a win-win. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about how you can do shopping for yourself for building your speaker wardrobe and help out the environment and feel really good about it at the same time. So, sustainable style rule number 4 is to maximize your current wardrobe. Clothes that are no longer serving you are both physical and psychological burdens. It is super helpful to get clear on your personal style and then remove everything else from your wardrobe. All it's doing is getting in the way of seeing what your options are. The clothes that either don't fit you well, that you know in your heart are outdated, but you're have maybe emotional attachment to them, or for some reason you're holding on to them. Or you feel regret because you bought them, but then you never wore them and they've been there for a long time. Like these are common things and everyone has done them. And they're still not going to give you outfit choices. Even if you keep them there, and you have those feelings, they're not going to help you. And so getting rid of them, you can actually have a smaller wardrobe and feel like you have more to wear. So, type in the chat about how much of your wardrobe you think you wear currently. Erin says, I need to go through my closet again. Karen says she's been there, done that. Yep. So Melody says about 30%. Karen says 40%. Erin says 75%. Steve says 60%. It used to be about 10. Sherry says 80%. That's amazing, Sherry. Okay. And so and Sean said 90%. Good job. Most people only wear about 20% of their wardrobe. The other 80% languishes in your closet. So that's incredible that most of you are wearing more than that because it just is in your way. And that is one of the greatest things that you can do for yourself is to get rid of that because you can then also see what is it that I actually need? What is missing from my wardrobe? Now I'm going to talk a little bit about why consignment is worth your time. So I want you to type in the chat how many pounds of textile waste you think the average American produces or discards of textile waste in clothing each year. So how many pounds does each American produce
Oh, no.
every year? So Karen says 60 pounds. Let's see. Sherry says, I just got rid of a bunch of stuff. Melody says 2,000. Sean says 50. Ann says 1,500. Steve says 15. Karen says she meant more like 600. Okay. So the average American, so that's each individual in the US, averaged, produces 80 pounds of textile waste every single year. But when you add that up, that comes to being, I think it is like 80 tons of textile waste. It is obscene how much textile waste we create. And so, so it is incredible. And donating is not a bad thing to do. That is one of the best options that we have. And a lot of what we donate does not actually make it out onto the sales floor. About 20% of what we donate
Yep.
makes it out onto the sales floor. If your clothing is in good condition and is not too old, meaning it is at least newer than 10 years, I recommend trying to consign it because that is the most environmentally sustainable way to keep textile waste out of the waste stream.
Mm.
It increases the chance of clothing being used. You're supporting our local economy by doing that. You get discounts when you shop because you garner income from the clothing that you're consigning. And it actually prevents dumping in developing nations because a lot of the textile waste that we produce, including some that is sent to donation centers, ends up as solid waste in developing nations, where they have even less infrastructure than we do to manage it. And so there's a desert, I think it's the Sahara Desert. There's a place in Africa, in the Sahara Desert, where there is a huge, enormous mountain of textile waste. And it's just like you can see it from miles away because it is so tall. And that is from from Western countries. That is not their waste. And so it's just and there are a lot of stuff is being shipped over on transport ships, and there are harbors in China that are just absolutely clogged with textile waste, and it's really, really a problem. And so, consigning, I just so want to encourage people to consign the clothing that is good quality because it really can make all the difference. And then the next part of that is sustainable style rule number 5, shopping new to you. So shopping at consignment stores. And I'm going to talk just a little bit, if I know some of you have consignment shopped, but let me just, let's see. Nancy, what are your thoughts on donating to charities that bring clothes to developing countries? Is that a good option or am I missing something? So it's kind of I would say it's a two-edged sword because if you know you are bringing it, like if you are bringing it specifically to a community that is lacking in clothes and you know that those particular individuals are going to be wearing those clothes and it's going to help them immediately, that is good. If like there are organizations like Goodwill that are shipping it overseas, saying that they are going to be helping people, but that actually can harm the local economies in those countries, the local clothing makers in those economies. And so that is not so good. So I think it would depend on the situation. If you are bringing supplies to a community in desperate need, that's going to help them. That is worth doing. But it is something to investigate a little bit before doing. Okay, so Aaron says, I have a lot more option now. Probably too much to be honest, but I have my work from home clothes, my more networking clothes, my speaking clothes, my light clothes, etc. I have too many categories. Even though I said I need to go through my closet, I'm better at getting rid of what I'm not using and what doesn't work for me after working with Nancy, and it's a change of seasons. If you get something from consignment and end up not wearing it, does it make sense to bring it back for another reconsignment? Absolutely. A pair of shoes that I ended up duplicating. Absolutely. So you can reconsign if you wear something and it's not working for you, or you've worn it for a while and it's still in really great shape, it's not out of style and it's not serving you anymore. Those weight fluctuations I was talking about, you can reconsign it. And then you're not going to get every penny that you paid for it, but you're going to keep it in the use stream and you're going to get a little bit back for it. So that's great to do that. So when you shop consignment, you can invest in higher quality clothing, but it is 1/3 the retail cost of retail clothing. So you're spending 2/3 less. Like that suit that we got for Steve. He spent so little on what that suit was. That suit is exquisite and it fit him perfectly. He didn't even need to get it tailored and it was amazing. And what he spent on it was just a fraction of what it cost. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was actually a custom made suit. So it was incredible. And so it is amazing what you can find, and it allows you to discover brands you might not find in a mall because you would look at the shop front and be like, that's not for me, but the perfect fitting jeans are in that brand. And so it really can allow you to build a wardrobe that you can take some risks with, but not break the budget while you're doing that. And build out clothing that is going to last longer and look really good. Okay, so you're going to be finding timeless pieces and keeping that fast fashion out of the landfill and having higher local economic impact, which is, all of those things are wins. So here are a few of the shops that I recommend. There are two that have women's wear and then two that have menswear as well. So Elite Repeat in St. Paul is a wonderful women's wear consignment shop. I know that some of you are not in the Twin Cities, but if you are, these are great places to shop. New Look Consignment in Minneapolis has both women's and men's wear. And then Rojo's Designer Consignment in Excelsior has menswear. And though their clothing is very high end, it's beautiful clothing, but again, at a third of the retail cost. So, and if you do not live in the Twin Cities, it is just Google clothing consignment near me because you might be surprised if that there are consignment shops near you where you can find clothing that works really well for you. And especially if you're in a bigger city, the resale clothing is a burgeoning retail field, especially with the flux of our economy. It has been a really growing field and or area of retail. And the millennials and younger generations are all on board for shopping resale and reusing. And so it is a very growing and robust area to find your clothing. So I highly recommend it. All right, so my closing words are that every person deserves to feel good, and not just good, but fantastic, especially when you're on the stage, because you are your brand and you want to knock it out of the park every time you step in front of your audience. And so that leads me to where this is the end of my talk. I'm going to talk a little bit about my special offer, and then we'll open it for Q&A, or we can wait to do this, Steve, and open it for Q&A until we do this, whichever you
Your
prefer.
call. If you want to kind of pitch this a little bit, that's cool. And then we can go into the
Okay.
hot seats. Then we'll do Karen, then Ann, then Sherry.
Okay, that
If
sounds
you want to
great.
do
Oh,
that.
yes, of course.
Make sure we have
The
time for
hot
those
seats
before
too.
the Q&A.
Let's
Unless
wait
there's
on
some.
this and do the hot seats first, and then
Okay.
then I'll talk about this and we can do Q&A. Okay.
All right. So yeah, so I think like I said, we've got Karen, Ann, and Sherry. So we'll plan on around
Okay.
10 minutes a piece. I know that's not a lot of time, but hopefully we can maximize the time there. So Nancy, I know Karen sent you stuff in advance, so you can decide if you want to just look at that or if you want her to share screen, or I'll let you kind of drive whatever's the most helpful for you.
Yeah, Karen, are you comfortable sharing your screen? Okay.
You're muted right
Why
now,
don't you go,
Karen.
yeah, why don't you go off mute and then you can share that.
Okay. Okay. And share. All right. Zoom. Okay. And you want me to put up the pictures that I sent
Yeah, why
you?
don't you first just tell, and it may be that everybody in the collective already knows what you speak about, but I think just as a good reminder, I really appreciated you sharing what you sent to me too.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Yeah, so maybe just kind of, yes, for everybody's purposes, I know you had some things that you wanted them to share about, what they speak about and that sort of thing. So just for the sake of everybody, I think that's helpful to kind of walk through those questions you had for people and
yes,
then get into the
Okay.
pictures. Yeah.
because I think it's really important for me to know what you're talking about. And this is something I would do with every client, no matter what their area of work is, because uh, it's really important to be intentional about what you're wearing according to what your work is and what your goals are for your
Yeah.
work too. So, okay, so you're
So, yeah,
go
so
ahead.
currently I think most everybody here, but maybe not everybody knows that I've lost all three of my children. And one of those was lost to addiction and substance abuse. That was my last son, who was lost in September, I'm sorry, in January of 2021. Typically, when I first started speaking, I was more focused on grief and resilience, and kind of pulling yourself out of that slump that you fall into when when things like that happen in your life. But more recently, I've kind of taken on the addiction and substance abuse part of that as well, because I feel like they both kind of connect. If we are If we are dealing with substance abuse, we'll most likely end up at some point dealing with grief throughout that process or at the end, depending. And if it's not substance abuse and we just lose someone, there's grief there. And it's just kind of all ties together to me. So that's kind of what I'm in the process of changing to right now. So so the things that I really want is for my audience to gain from my presentations is how do you survive the worst events of your life? How do you recover from whatever's happening in your life? And I think the word recovery feels more comfortable to me than healing, because I think healing kind of to me connotates that it heals and it goes away. But whether it's substance abuse or whether it's grief or whatever the things are that we're dealing with that are like that type of feelings and so forth, typically don't go away. They're usually triggers that bring them back to life for you at some point in your life. And so I'm really hoping that as I move forward in this new change that I'm making, that I will be able to help people find at least one or two things out of the things that I've learned in my life to to use in their lives as they're trying to deal through or trying to get through all the difficulties. So
Okay. So when you who is
who's
so
my target
who are you?
audience?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, my target audience has kind of moved around a little bit. Right now, I think my target audiences are going to be, and I haven't really pursued this just quite yet, but I think my target audiences are going to be more like schools, people who work with children, whether it's schools or um, uh, like resources that are available for families and
Hmm.
children, parents, I believe. So I think, general audiences, I could hit a lot of that, but I kind of want to target a little bit more associations and things like that, things that have um, influence on the community and influence on how we can fight the substance abuse
Hmm.
issues and also connect with people who are grieving. So there's a little bit of like church and that kind of stuff in there
Yeah.
as well. So yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna, this is grief groups and
yep,
churches and yeah,
mm-hmm,
all of
yep,
those kinds of places where and we know it's a crisis, and I'm so sorry
yeah,
for your loss.
thank you.
And yes, the and I like what you talked about, that you're never healed.
Mhm.
And you never actually fully heal from grief either.
No,
It's like it's addiction or grief. It's like it's an ongoing journey, and so that's very powerful. And
yeah,
thank you for sharing your
mhm,
story and for your audiences, because that is different. And I did look at the pictures. So can you scroll down, Karen, so
yeah,
that we can
sure,
look at the
yeah, sure.
photos?
So
And
these first two photos were pretty early on, probably about 2 or 3 years ago. Um, and I was about 25 pounds heavier there. And to be very honest with you, that would be one of those situations where I didn't feel comfortable. Um,
okay,
and it wasn't necessarily the dress so much as it was the shoes, because the shoes did not, well, I'll say they didn't fit me well, and and so I felt uncomfortable walking in them and moving around on the
yes.
stage. So,
And you wanted to be able to move.
yep,
Okay.
yep,
So yes, the footwear is essential. It sure is. Let's start with just the first picture,
okay,
okay?
okay, yep,
So I really like this dress. So if you were speaking at an association or
hmm,
at a church or something where it's a larger audience, and I thought that this dress was lovely. It's subdued,
hmm,
and but it is professional at the same time.
yep,
I'm sorry it doesn't, I mean, if for health reasons you lost weight, that's great, but I'm sorry if it doesn't fit you anymore. But that
well,
is something that you could aim for. Just find, it's essential that, like, this is what I said earlier, of being sure that you test drive your
hmm,
ensembles
hmm,
well before the events, so
yeah,
that you are sure you are comfortable.
yeah,
So, but I liked how you used the bold necklace as an accessory
Hmm.
because it popped on the backdrop of the dress. It draws the attention to your face, which is what you want when
Hmm.
speaking. And so I thought that that this was a beautiful outfit.
Thanks.
So let's move on to, so that would be something that you could absolutely
Hmm.
replicate.
This is just a photograph, but this is kind of this was more of a casual outfit, but I really felt very comfortable in this outfit. And the rock thing is something that is part of my, as I mentioned, I use acronyms, and it's the ROCK, which is reframe, rethink, um, be open, open-minded, open heart. C is confidence building, and then K is just spreading kindness or just kindness.
Okay,
So that's
fun.
what the rock thing is. So
Okay, I love rocks too. So
yeah.
my feedback on this outfit would be, so Steve might know what I'm going to say, is to that you need to tuck in your shirt.
Okay.
Because so the I think it's totally fine to wear a graphic tee that,
Hmm.
especially if you're speaking to students or young
Hmm.
people,
Yep.
or a more very casual
Right.
environment, or maybe even a grief group, you want to be approachable, but you want to tuck in your shirt, and you might feel uncomfortable doing it with those pants in particular.
Yeah.
And that's where I would suggest wearing not pants that are not gathered at the ankle. They could
Okay.
be cropped. That would
Okay.
give you still some definition of your ankles, and maybe
Okay.
sneakers, even,
Okay.
polished
Yep.
sneakers,
Yep.
and
Okay.
then tuck in the shirt so that you can see where your waist is.
Okay. Okay.
Because, again, skimming the lines of your body.
Would you recommend belting or not?
That's up to you. If
Okay.
your pants are gonna, sometimes people struggle with their pants staying up when they're not belted. And if that's the
Yeah.
case, then be sure to belt it so you don't have
Okay.
to be, touching your
Okay.
clothes.
Okay.
But the hoodie I think is again for very casual audiences.
Hmm.
I think that that's okay. And I love if you're going to talk about the rock acronym, I
Hmm.
think that's
Hmm.
perfect. And I think cropped jeans would be great with
Okay.
this outfit, and
Okay.
sneakers.
Okay. Okay. Um,
And
this one you can't see the dress, but it's just a basic straight shift. I mean, it's just straight, but I have it
hmm
belted.
okay.
Um,
And that's, I think, the only feedback. I think it's a dress like that is just fine. I might choose a bright, solid color because, again,
okay.
the smaller pattern can get muddy.
Okay.
And so
All
then
right.
it looks a little washed out rather than having impact. And so
Okay.
choosing a bold color and with your complexion and your skin tone, and your hair color, I mean, I think
Hmm.
that a blue could be gorgeous.
Yeah. Yeah. I do like blue. So yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. All right. And
Okay.
then, yeah. And then this was really early on. So I was wearing, just I didn't have anything really in my closet. So this was a really early thing that I did it for a rotary thing. So it was, I just grabbed, what I thought, so I threw the necklace on to hopefully, kind of pull it all together. And yeah, that was that was
Okay.
my original first first
I
attempt.
think
So
the necklace is really fun. Again, I would want your waist to be defined.
yeah.
Pretty much
Okay.
all of you, I want your
Okay.
waist defined.
Okay.
Sometimes,
Okay.
sometimes you don't have to tuck your shirt to do that, but you want your clothes to fit. And the lines of the shirt is a little. Are you petite? What is your
Yes.
height, Karen?
I'm
Yeah,
5'3".
yeah.
Yeah.
And so the shirt is a little too long for
Too
you.
long. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
And so it's throwing off the balance of lines. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
But
Okay.
otherwise, the combination is good. It's just the shirt is a little too long.
Okay.
And then again, maybe the wide leg pants rather than
Yep.
the leggings.
Yep. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
I agree, Karen. Or Karen, you look fun to hang out with. I agree with Steve.
She is
Well,
fun to
I
hang
try.
out with. She is fun to look hang out with. She always looks fun too in the pictures.
Yeah. Thank you for being in the hot seat.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Thanks, Karen. I know
Thank you
that
for your suggestions.
Yeah.
I know it's super quick. That's the good and the bad
Yep,
of the
it's
hot
okay.
seats. We get to a bunch of people, but
Yep.
I know it's
Yeah.
always like, oh, we want more. But thank you so much for sharing that. I think Anne has promoted Sherry to go second because Anne was running a little later. She's waiting in line or something. So I think
Okay.
Sherry is now in the
Yep.
hot seat.
All right. Hi, Sherry.
And Nancy, I don't ever work out just before a presentation like this. So
There's no judgment here.
I just emailed you pictures because my Wi-Fi is getting
Okay.
wonky and I had to
Let
close
me
a
see
bunch of
if I
stuff. So I
can
just emailed them to you.
find
And I always forget
them.
to have someone take pictures while I'm presenting. So I have
I
some
forget to do
pictures
that
right
too.
after presentations. Yeah,
Yeah.
that maybe you can see what I wore.
Okay, let's see.
Well,
I
while
ha
she's looking that up, Sherry, do you just want to give like the real high level for Nancy as far as what you talk about and kind of what you want to feel like in your clothes and stuff while she's looking those
Yeah.
up?
yes.
So I was in corporate, so I help high achievers, primarily corporate high achievers, really figure out what they want, who they are, what they're good at, and really live a life they love. So I help them get out of autopilot and really lean into their strengths and who they want to be.
Okay.
And I really want to feel confident, approachable, and authentic. I feel best in like that dress. I hate that dress. I'm not going to wear that again. I feel best when I'm wearing jeans. I like Converse. I like boots a lot. Um, and I wear a baseball hat a lot, but I don't have to do that when I'm presenting. But I used to have to wear suits for work, so I think there's part of me that's kind of rebelling against that.
You don't have to wear
Um,
suits.
yeah, so I think that's probably why I went way over to jeans or something.
Yeah.
But then when I left corporate, we were wearing jeans by that time. So, and that was my favorite.
Okay. And okay, so did you say who, well, I hope I not everything sank in. Did you say who your audience is, or who your target
It's
clients are?
primarily corporate, but I
Okay.
present at like women's functions and
Okay.
those kinds of less formal type of events too. And
Okay. All
I've worked
right.
with some organizations who are not formal, so I certainly would not want to dress up in those environments.
Okay. So first, so I'm gonna start with what you were starting with. So well, I'm going to remind everyone, you are your brand. So you are reflecting your business. Yes, you want to be dressed appropriately for the context, but you do not need to dress exactly like your audience. Or there are some circumstances where yes, you would, but so I sometimes use swear words. I hope it's okay. They aren't really bad swear words, but I see, Sherry, that you are wanting to be kick-ass. Would that be correct?
Yeah, I use a lot of motion when I talk,
Yeah. And
and I
so
sweat a lot, so that's been a
yeah,
challenge.
well, yes, and that's okay. But I
Hey, Nancy,
think
I hate to
that
interrupt. I'm sorry. Is there a way you can zoom in a little bit just for, especially for
No,
people on
this is a
recording?
terrible.
oh no,
Okay.
No,
no,
it's
it's
just it's
okay.
Just a
bad.
little
I
bit.
hate
That's
this
fine.
dress.
Yeah.
No,
Thank you.
no, it's okay. There's no
Okay,
judgment
fine.
here. You're in the hot seat, so you're making yourself vulnerable and there is no judgment. So I would say that embrace, you're working with high achievers, embrace the kick-ass. You could even make a baseball hat part of your ensemble. And maybe you don't
Ooh.
wear it the whole time, but you could start with it, or you could wear it the whole time if you wanted to. And if you are doing things with intention and they make sense, then you can do that. And so that's like Steve wears and I know you're moving a little away from the safari theme, but he does have some animal print pocket squares, and there are things that you can do to implement your authenticity into your presence. And so the baseball hat could be, if that's one of your signature looks, that could be something that you could consider. And if you're wearing a really elevated jeans outfit with a baseball hat, that maybe gold baseball hats aren't your jam, but you could do something that's sort of flashy, or that is that means something to what you're talking about. So I wouldn't say to shy away from that. The so now really thinking about what are you modeling for people, especially because you're doing it's sort of a coaching element of your speaking. And so
Right.
you want to think about that. Like, what are the values that you're wanting to model with how you are showing up, and think about what clothes could convey that. And again, using a jacket with jeans and then nicer shoes, that's still going to be polished, even though it's jeans. It's not going to look sloppy. You can do it very intentionally so that you don't look sloppy. So this dress, I love the shoes. I think the shoes are sassy, which is, I think is totally on brand for you. This print, even though it's bold, it is a little muddy because that's why you're reacting to it to say, oh, I don't like that dress. I won't wear it again on stage. Is because the tones of the dress are too close to each other. So there isn't enough contrast between them. And so it is looking a little muddy. Do you understand what
Oh,
I mean
okay.
by
Yeah.
that?
And
And
I think
so,
the reason I'm actually reacting to the dress the way I am, that's probably part of it, absolutely, is I turned 50, so everything's gone haywire.
yeah, I hear you, sister. I'm
Like, what?
58. This is the decade of being exactly who you are and doing it unapologetically. So keep that in mind. So let's move on to the next picture. And I think I would choose a less flowy dress, one that's a little more fitted if you're going to wear a dress. So
Hmm.
again, you can see the lines of your body. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So tell me about
And
this
that's
picture.
after presentation. So that's what I had worn.
Okay. So, all right. So since you're so small and you have a baseball hat, are you on the right? Is that
No,
correct?
I'm on the
Or you
left.
were,
So I wore a
okay,
black
okay.
dress with the print
With
and
the
then
sweater. Okay.
a yellow
Okay.
sweater.
Sorry, it's hard to like because all of you are in these little tiny boxes and it's hard to see faces so well. So okay, so Sherry, instead of the cardigan, the color is fun. It's an interesting sassy color, but instead of the cardigan, I would wear a jacket. So because
Okay.
again, it's going to give you a little more structure. When you wear a jacket over a dress, you want the jacket to be cropped so that the balance of lines are good. If a
Mm,
jacket is too long with a dress, it drags down the lines. And so you want to have it doesn't need to be like a really short jacket, but you want it to be at your waist or a little bit higher than that. Even
okay.
a denim jacket, a dark wash blue denim jacket would work really well. Like if you're wanting to be kind of casual, and then you could wear sassy boots, tall boots with the dress and have maybe thinking about having one edgy component to every outfit that you wear that, would sort of show your like, we got this for the high achieving people.
Okay, cool.
Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, I actually have a jean
Okay.
jacket on in one of the pictures I sent
Oh,
to you.
good. Okay, we'll go on. Oh, there you are again.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, you can barely see. I was wearing a brown sweater.
Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say not to wear sweaters when you are speaking, just because they
Okay.
don't have enough structure.
Okay. That's helpful.
Yeah. Okay. But now this one, I love the color. Oh, I went too fast. I tried to zoom, but I went to the other picture. So I love the color. This one does have a little more structure. I'm just gonna solidarity because whenever anyone takes a picture of me speaking, I have the weirdest looks on my face.
Yeah,
It's
and I make those
just
faces all the
something.
time, so that's like
Me
totally
too.
normal.
Me
Yeah.
too. So I do like that this has a little more structure, but I would rather you think more about jackets just because
Hmm.
it is going to give you that having the shoulder definition just immediately conveys confidence and expertise. And that's what you want to convey. So I
Okay.
would I would rethink the sweaters. But the bold colors do that for sure.
Okay.
And you could even add a necklace here that's a little bolder. It doesn't have to be, I don't mean like the really chunky necklaces from 10 or 12 years ago. I mean ones just that something, it can even be like a metallic single pendant, something that pops though, because that just draws the eye up to your face.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, this is a lovely, where are you? Is that the Bell
At
Museum?
Iowa State University, which is
Oh,
fabulous.
okay.
That's where I
Okay.
went.
Beautiful. Yeah. And
So
so
yeah, that's just a
what were you
shirt.
Yes, but what context were you in?
I was speaking to professors that day.
Okay. And how did you feel in terms
I
of like,
felt
did you
good.
feel dressed
I was
appropriately?
especially sweaty that day because it was super hot.
Okay.
I think I probably ended up putting my jean jacket on because I was so sweaty.
Okay. All right. So actually I love the color again. I think that red is that were you the one that said you always wear your signature color? Was I can't remember someone said that okay.
Mm-mm.
But red could be your signature color because it really suits you. It's
That was
lovely.
Catherine. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so sorry about that, Catherine. I was thinking it was Sherry. But that I would say even I know professors, my husband's a professor, they are often just wearing jeans and shirts. And I do think wearing that denim jeans outfit with a lightweight jacket. That again is not going to make you roast so that you are way too
Mhm.
hot, but that will again add that just that little bit of elevated uh, structure to your outfit. And then I'm also going to share because speakers do sweat when they're on stage. There are fun things called dress shields, which both men and women can wear them, but they're little absorbent. They kind of they look like a taco, but and then they attach to the inside of your shirt and in the armpit region, and they have like a little bit of adhesive, and it's like an absorbent little pad that can help absorb the sweat. So if you just Google dress shields or garment shields, that could be a thing to use to help. You do, the main thing you want to be conscious of is that it doesn't show through whatever you're wearing. So if you're only wearing a shirt, you want to make sure that it doesn't show.
Hmm.
But that could be a strategy to try if you really do sweat a lot, because it might help you just feel like you're not going to be sweating through. Like I once spoke where I was wearing a light blue shirt. It was really hot in the room, and I got really hot, and everyone knew I was sweating, and it was so beautiful. So it happens to everyone.
Ah,
Okay. All right. I love this. Perfect. 10 out of 10. That's
all
great
right.
because yeah, I love the dress. It's fitted, but I think red is your signature color from all these pictures that you've shown me. I love the
Okay.
denim jacket, casual and approachable, but giving you structure. Um, I would suggest maybe taking off your lanyard when you're speaking, even at a conference, so that
Oh,
it's not distracting. That's for everyone, not just for you. And maybe wear even just a little bolder necklace. But I love
mhm.
everything else. I think it's great.
Thank you. Thank you
Hey,
very much, Nancy.
yeah.
Yeah,
Do
I'll
you,
jump
yeah.
in. Yeah, I think especially for photos, like having the lanyard off. I know we don't think about it because we want to be part of the thing, but taking it off just for those photo ops is always a good idea. So
Yeah,
thank you so
for
much,
sure.
Sherry. Thanks, Sherry. I know Ann is here. And as we're kind of transitioning to Ann, Nancy, there was one question from Sean about how do I identify our signature color? Can I choose it? Or Sean, feel free to elaborate if you want. But as we're doing that, Ann, you can be ready to share your stuff.
Okay. Sean and everybody else, yes, you can identify, you can choose your signature color. It should correlate with your branding. And so when you're thinking about your branding for your website and social media and all the things that print media, print collateral, all the things. You want to make sure that you coordinate it with that. It does not have to be a brand color, but it has to complement the brand colors. And so, and you want to make sure that it also complements your complexion, so that when you wear it, it does not wash you out or bring out tones that are not tones that you want. So pale colors tend to wash Caucasian skin out. And so you don't want to have like beige or cream right at your face because it will wash you out. If you wear a white shirt, I think white is better than cream because it is brighter. But if you are wearing a white shirt, especially men will sometimes wear white shirts when they're dressing, you want to make sure that it works with your skin tone. Steve, it does work with your skin tone without a jacket, but you can always wear a jacket over it that will have contrast that will help to pop. And that's really good. Okay, so let's see.
Thank you.
I'm trying to just make sure I'm getting. So Sherry says your brand color is blue and yellow. No, Sherry, that's perfect because red is the other primary color. That's awesome. You can have the primary colors. I love that actually. That could be really good. And then because yeah, you'll be in perfect symmetry with the primary colors. I love that. Okay. And so Sean, so you are sharing?
No, Ann,
Excellent.
Ann is going to go next.
Oh, Anne's going next. I'm
Yep.
sorry. Sean
Nope, you're
came up
good.
on us.
We were just chatting about how all the Karens are fun, so that's all we were chatting about
Yes.
in there.
Yeah, I can see I've missed some chats. If there's anything that I
Yeah, I'll
should
let you know. Yeah.
okay. Thank you.
All right. Hi, Nancy. I'm so excited. Can you guys hear me
Hi.
okay?
Yes.
Perfect.
Hello.
All right. I'm Ann Vogt, and I help people get clear on their workplace culture and provide communication and leadership tools to help them create that culture and feel really confident in that culture. And so my how I want the audience to feel is confident in themselves, in their leadership, but also after learning some of my strategies and tools and resources that they feel confident to literally go take action the next day. I also want them feeling empowered and capable in that way. And then I personally, so you can't tell in these photos, but I am 4'10". So I am a
Okay.
very small human. Actually, maybe in the next one, you can see how like the back row has a hard time seeing me, which is why this orange was my color for a good year. Um, but so I want to feel confident. I want to feel professional. I am a former teacher. And sometimes I don't tell people that because it instantly gives them a vibe
Yeah.
that they don't think I have what it takes to help them, when in reality, I would be like, I have everything it takes to help you. Um, but so I want to feel confident. I want to feel professional. And then I also want to feel like I'm bringing value and knowledge to them.
Okay. And who is your ideal client?
Yeah, good question. So I speak kind of all over the place. I haven't really gone down a niche path. So a lot of bank presentations, a couple of
Okay.
big like Minnesota conferences that I've done, and then also just like a company where they bring me in to speak with all their managers. So it's a lot of
Okay.
managers, supervisors, leaders. Yeah.
Okay, so other than the conferences, so groups like 20 to 30 people, a little smaller.
Correct.
Okay, so you're
Yep.
closer to them. You're yeah, and that
Yeah.
actually it's hard if you're not on the stage because you are smaller. So you want to be sure to be seen. Okay.
Yeah.
And uh Oh, I was going to say something. I am a former teacher as well. I know exactly what you're saying, and teachers are the best humans in the world. That's all I have to say because it is such a thankless job, and it prepares you for so many things. And so more power to you. You rock it.
Thank you.
Um, okay, so. Let's look at your outfits. So I actually, the taupe color of your shirt in the first picture does work for your skin tone just
Yeah.
fine. And do you see how you're kind of blending into the whiteboard a little bit? And
Yep.
so you do want to choose colors where you are going to pop. And what are your branding colors, Anne?
Yeah, I was gonna throw my logo in here and I was not able to. Can you see my screen if I go to search?
Yep.
Okay, good deal. I'm just gonna go to my website because it just got redone and it's got brand new colors. So here is my
Love it.
logo in the top left. So it's like a blue with orange and red. Um,
Okay.
yeah,
So I think that orange red should be your signature color. I think that and I mean, it's not, I think what some women, and I'm not making this assumption about any of you, but some women will shy away from red because they don't, I think that, they think it's going to make them not seem approachable, but I actually think it's owning your power. And so I think, and that orange red is fabulous for you. It really suits your complexion and your hair. And you are going to pop no matter what circumstance you're in, which is good. And so that would be a color that I would embrace for your speaking outfits. So let's go back to your pictures. Okay, and so the dress is and it doesn't have to be exact for every item that you wear at all.
Right.
But the dress is more on that line. And do you see how you're much more visible with
Oh,
that
for
color?
sure.
And I
Yes.
like the fittedness of the dress very much.
Yeah.
And I would just, again, that third piece rule, I would recommend adding a necklace to the outfit. Or even the first outfit, Anne, if you had put a jacket on with that, that
Yeah.
would have been your third piece as well. And you don't even need a necklace. And also it would have added contrast to the taupe so that then you would have popped more. But
Yeah.
I love that the pants fit you nicely, the shirt is tucked in, your body is defined. I think that looks great.
Thank you. I was going
Yeah.
to ask, and I'm glad Sherry brought it up too. So just last week, I was presenting in a light blue dress, and within an hour, I could tell I was sweating through that dress. And I just so happened to have this dress in the car. I always bring two in case like I spill on something or whatever. Literally mid-presentation, I went and threw this dress on. And people were like, "What just
What
happened?"
are
And I
you
said,
doing?
"Well, perimenopause is rearing its ugly head today, friends, and we are not shying away from it. So you got a new dress." I was like, never have I ever
Oh,
in 3 years changed
I love
outfits
it.
mid-presentation, but I was like, we are not overlooking the fact that women have this issue and we're just running with it. So, anyways,
I
it was
think
kind of
that's
funny.
amazing.
So I wrote
Own
down
it.
dress shields. Yeah, layering for me
Hard.
feel
Yeah.
I run very hot, always have. And so I do struggle. I wear a lot of dresses even midwinter
Yeah.
because I just need the airflow. But so grateful that you mentioned dress shields and
Yeah. Give those a
yeah.
try for sure. Another thing you can do is if you feel comfortable is pulling up your hair. It'll make a really big difference with getting
Yeah.
so hot. And so
I
yeah.
I
That
will
might
tell
not
you,
be
it
yeah.
does feel like a little bit of my signature style
Okay, yeah. And that's
to have
okay.
it
And I
down.
get that.
But that's really funny because yeah, I've had
Yeah.
people say, "Gosh, I feel like I know you from somewhere, or at least I know your hair." And I'm like, "Oh, I
Yeah.
probably spoke at
I
your
love
work
it. That's
conference."
great.
Anyways,
Yeah.
so this
So
dress on the left has
mhm.
been my go-to dress for the last year. Literally, I think I've worn it to
Okay.
probably 40 out of 50 presentations.
Okay. All
So I'd
right.
love your thoughts on this
Yeah,
based
I
on what you've
actually
already
so
said.
yeah, so Sherry, this is actually very similar to the dress that you were wearing, but do you see how there was white? There's white in the pattern here. Can you try to can you enlarge the pictures a little
Oh,
bit? If you
sorry.
just go to
Yep. I should have put it on full
there
screen.
you
Is that
go.
better?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. And then go to the next. Oh, there it is. Okay. So do you see how there is white in that pattern? So it
Mm.
shows a little bit more. There's a little more contrast, which works
Mm.
really well. And is there a belt with that, Anne?
There isn't. It's kind of like a cinched waist.
Okay. So to get your third piece, I
Yeah.
would recommend putting a structured belt around your waist with that,
Yeah.
like a wide structured belt,
Okay.
because that would again, it would define your body more. It's that active intention, adding polish. All those little things for both women and men make all the difference. So men, if you're wearing a sport coat over your shirt, that's an act of intention. Wearing a dress belt with your pants or with your jeans is an act of intention. The same with women, wearing a belt. So I'm going to jump to the jumpsuit, which I love. Adding a structured belt to that
Yeah.
jumpsuit is going to totally change what it looks like. I don't dislike the jumpsuit, but it's going to add interest and polish
Yeah.
to the and define your body better. This color is a little washed out, especially because of the background. And you can't always know what color the wall is going to
Yeah.
be behind you. And so I love the idea of a jumpsuit. It's really sassy. Sherry, that's something you could think about too, possibly. But
Mm.
the but the but wearing a belt with it and maybe getting one in either a dark color, which hides the sweat. I will say dark colors or white are better than hiding sweat than the midtones. And
Yeah.
so getting one that's darker or a bright color could be really fun. But I would stay with solid with a jumpsuit, just so it doesn't get to be too much going on.
Perfect. Love that. I also wanted to share these are my favorite shoes in case there are
Yeah.
women on here that are like, I can't wear heels, they hurt my feet. I was a dancer for like 17 years and um, they're expensive, but Sneaks from Sarah Blakely, who also made Spanx. Uh, these are crazy. I can literally run. I was in the rain recently and I ran to my car. It was wild. So, women, I love this sneaker, but when you're 4'10", I cannot wear flat sneakers.
Yeah.
So, this was like, they come in tons of shades, but yeah. Yeah. And on that note, just real quick, I'm going to stop sharing. If we still have a second or two, short people, I heard somebody else kind of comment on that. Do you have like some style rules for us? Because I was a teacher previously. So yes,
Hmm.
it was dress pants and jeans with tops. The end.
Yep.
Never even wore a
Right.
dress as a teacher. I was middle school, high
Right.
school. Where now, like I don't know what fits my height.
So, yeah, what I recommend for petite women, and I actually think that if you are 5'6" or under, a lot of sort of custom is that if you're 5'4" or under, but I think even women who are 5'6" benefit from this, is to make sure that your wrists show and your ankles show. It was often said that you wear dress pants down, long dress pants to quote elongate your leg. I actually think that it is better to have your ankles show because your body is better defined. It highlights your shoes so you can do more fun things like those sneaks are awesome and you can do more fun with them. And it just is a better balance of lines. And when your wrists show, and you can do that as easily as just cuffing the cuff on your blazer or on your sweater or getting a gathered cuff and scrunching it up. That can, when your wrists show, it squares off your shoulders and it defines your waist. And
Mm.
so I know it's weird, but try it and you will be amazed. And it really does help to just give that, like you don't disappear into your clothes, which can be a struggle when you're a petite. And definitely shop petites when you can. And don't be afraid to use a tailor to make sure that things are not too long for you. And, pants, obviously, but also your shirts. So, Karen, the last shirt you showed me was too long for your body. And so make sure that you're finding shirts that suit your balance of lines and hit you in the right place with at your hips and waist. So that really helps. And choosing more fitted cropped jackets can help too.
Mhm.
So
How
yeah.
about
Awesome.
how
Thank
about
you so
longer
much.
dress?
That was great.
Yeah. How about longer dresses for a short person? Do they need to be like you said ankles need to show, so should they
Yes.
be okay.
So you can do midi length, but you want
Okay.
to make sure that your ankles are showing. You do
Okay.
not want them to hit just below your knee or right at mid calf or mid shin because
Okay.
that is a very harsh horizontal break. So you want it to be a little closer to your ankle than to your knee, but you don't want you want your ankles to show because if they
Okay.
don't show, you're going to be swallowed by it.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah,
And
Nancy,
I'm
I'll let you
looking
kind of
at,
decide when you want to cut off to break
oh
for,
yeah, it won't,
sharing whatever.
we
So
can go for a few more minutes because it won't
yeah,
take me very long to talk about
I'll
that.
let you
So yeah.
decide. You can kind of manage the rest of the time, and I don't have anything at the
Okay.
end, so you can just kind of wrap us up, and then we do end by
Okay.
4 o'clock because I'm that guy. But I'll let you kind of navigate how you want to navigate that.
Okay.
Good stuff.
All right.
Nancy, can I ask a question about something you shared with Ann? So the contrast in her dress is what made it good. I mean, I liked your
Yes.
dress all around, Dan, but I mean, from your standpoint, Nancy, is the contrast. So you would either recommend a pretty significant contrast in the colors or just one color when it comes to a dress?
Correct. Yes. And
Okay.
so a bold print with contrasting colors
Mhm.
or a solid color that is bright so that you
Okay.
don't get washed out. Or you
Okay.
could do black, but but it depends on what you're wanting to convey. I think color can be a really powerful tool. So
Mhm.
and it sends energy to be wearing color.
Hmm.
But but for Karen, when she's talking about grief, there might be contexts where she wants to be more subdued, and so black might be, or dark navy might be the appropriate color for you, depending on, what you're talking about and your audience. So those are all things. It's all about intention. I can't use that word enough. It's really all about intention. And also just making sure that your dress defines your waist in some way. So either with a belt or that is fitted enough because the dress, I would have to look at it more closely because what I reacted to first was that the print was a little bit muddy. But if it's,
Hmm.
you want, like, again, you don't want things to be tight, but you also really don't want them to be too big. That does not, especially when you're up on stage in front of people, too big really doesn't look good. It doesn't,
Hmm.
you get lost and it's off. And, again, people aren't going to articulate that to themselves, but they notice that something is not
Hmm.
quite right. And you don't want that. You want your clothes to be working for you, not against you.
Thank you. Can I ask
Okay.
another
Anybody
question?
else?
I
Yeah.
think this is my last one. So I have some boots that are kind of scuffy looking. You know how some boots are like that? Is that
Yeah.
bad? Do I need to just get
Are
new
they
boots?
tall or are
They're tall.
they, and
Well, I
are
have
they,
some scuffy ones that are short and some that are tall.
okay, I would say probably to do the tall boots with dresses. And if what you are they what color are they, brown or are they black
They're like
or
a kind of a an orangey brown rust
okay,
color.
yeah, so sort of like a caramel color or a
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay. I think that that's okay. If you're wanting to be, you could wear those with a dress, which would look really
Hmm.
great. And that's actually very in style right now to wear midi dresses with tall boots. And so that is something that you could do in the winter, especially. I would just make sure they're clean, because distressed looks, don't wear distressed jeans, but distressed boots are a thing. And if you make sure they look clean,
Hmm.
that they're not, muddy or like there's scrapes on them or anything like that, then I do think it would be just fine.
Okay, so not like I just
Yeah.
came in from doing chores, but they can look distressed. Okay,
Yes. Yeah.
okay. Thank you. That's very helpful.
Yeah.
Nancy, there's a
Karen,
question from Catherine in the chat.
yeah, okay. Not an expert here, but I'd also suggest no open-toed shoes for women. Toes are really distracting to look at. Yes, yes. The whole toe thing is very interesting. It can be distracting. I've never really thought about that before, but yeah, you really don't want anything to be distracting at all. If and it and you want to make sure that you also have shoes where there isn't any chance that you're going to, so you shouldn't speak barefoot. Probably not, Steve, or you can just schlep out in your socks. That'd be good. But uh you don't want anything to be distracting. And you have to think when you are actually up on a stage, your feet are at the audience's eye level, at least for the people who are close to the stage. And so it's true. They might notice, like, oh, she needs to get her toes, her pedicure done, or, that's a weird color, or, it's like, yeah, you don't want any of that stuff. So I spent time in shoe school, so I look at this differently. Haha. What is shoe school? I want to know about shoe school. Catherine, you have to come off mute and tell us about this. Fashion
She,
school.
she's gonna
Got
stay.
it.
She's gonna stay hidden behind the mute button, but we got an answer coming, I think.
Okay, excellent.
Is there,
Okay.
Nancy? I know one of the things that you've taught me. I mean, I can only consume, frankly, about 2% of what you've taught me, and I little by little I start to implement it. But like, she studies shoe design. Okay, um,
Yeah,
that's
I
something I
have
haven't.
comments about
But
that,
is
but
there
go
anything
ahead.
like I know for like Sean and I, there's a female equivalent. I know you taught me like the crew cuff and some of these ways to
Yeah,
actually make shirts look better. Is there anything
yeah.
like that that we should be talking about, or?
So there's lots of little style strategies that you can use to really polish your look. And I mentioned cuffing your blazer sleeves. That's not typically, men don't usually do that. You really need to get, I had insisted on Steve getting his sport coat hemmed so the sleeves were not too long for him. And it's an investment, but it's worth it because it really does. It looks much more polished. And so do all of you make the tailor your friend because it really makes a difference when your clothes fit you properly. So for shirts though, if you are wearing like a collared shirt, and this goes for men and women, you can do something called the J. Crew cuff. And you can just Google it online. There are video tutorials that show you how to do it. And it's a way to cuff your sleeves in a polished way that doesn't come untucked very easily. And so you're cuffing them up and then it won't like fall down. And so it'll stay in place while you're speaking and it allows your wrists to show, which looks good. And it is just very polished. And if you are wearing a sport coat or a blazer, but you know you're going to be hot and are going to need to take off your jacket, you can do it underneath the jacket, and then when you take off your jacket, your shirt will look polished. And so that is one thing that you can do. Okay, so Catherine, if you're, are you still there, Catherine?
I am
Um,
here.
okay, good. Because I
I
want to
am down
say, so,
here. My
okay, there
camera is
you
up
are. Awesome.
there.
That's okay. So did you learn about like people have toe fetishes? Did you learn about that when you were doing shoe design? Like it's a
Well, I mean, I
thing.
wouldn't say that was a focus.
I'm glad, but it's like
But
it's
it is interesting, like even if you consider a great example being women's handbags,
yeah, yeah,
your hand is not actually designed to hold anything more than 5 pounds, and you can imagine what
right,
things that women put in their bags. And so you sort of think about that when you're accessorizing wherever it is you're going, not just, when
right,
you're speaking,
absolutely.
but it's just sort of a different way to look at it. But yeah, I would just suggest this is regardless of speaker expertise. I would just say to avoid open-toed shoes for men and women. It
Yeah.
does
Well,
not
yes.
bode well.
No, it does not. And men especially, because that means you're wearing sandals and you really should. Some women's sandals I think are okay, but yeah, it's open-toed. And so maybe I guess it depends on who your audience is, but or where you are. Because
Unless you're
Steve went
speaking at the beach, maybe.
right. Well, that's what Steve went to. You recently went to a thing,
Yeah,
Steve,
I had
in the
a
Bahamas,
event
right?
in
Or in
Bermuda. Yeah,
Bermuda, that's
yeah,
right. And it's
yeah,
like, and so sandals were appropriate there for sure.
yeah.
But yeah, so that's one of the takeaways. Know your context. Know your context. But
And I
okay,
was
yeah. And
texting
the
Nancy
Jake,
all the time, like, here's what they said is what you're supposed to wear for these different events. I'm like, what the heck is this? Like, I had no idea what these things even meant. So I was constantly texting you, what about this? Then you'd
yep.
respond, I'd be like, do I wear socks? No, you don't wear socks. Do I wear...
Yes. Yes, that's
I
another
was
takeaway. No
hopeless.
socks with sandals. No socks with sandals. Does anyone have any other questions?
This has been lovely. Thank you so much, Nancy.
Yeah. So just in the last few minutes, I do have an offer for all of you all, just because it's been so fun to share with you. And I will show that to you. So as Steve said, I did, he and I worked together and we really readied him for feeling confident on this stage. And I do work virtually as well. The shopping part, we could work something out because the shopping part is a little harder to do virtually, but I can recommend links and things like that. If you are interested, we can have a conversation about how we could have it work. But this is a special offer package for the Ambitious Speakers Collective, and it includes 6 hours of style support. So it would be three 2-hour sessions, one session in your closet. And as I said, that can be very easily done virtually, or we can do it in person if you're in the Twin Cities area. And then it includes two personal shopping sessions focused on curating complete looks as a speaker for all the different contexts that you have. And so then there will be personalized outfit pairings that will come as a result of that, and we'll create a lookbook for you so that it's easy for you to choose the outfits. And if you're traveling, you can easily figure out what outfits you need to take with you, when you're doing your speaking engagements and all of that stuff. And we'll take into account your brand as we're doing it so that everything is all aligned and so that you are feeling like you are showing up as your best self on stage. And you'll get guidance from me on colors, fit, and accessories that align with your message and enhance your presence on stage and off. Because, Steve talks about when he is at his engagements, he is on the whole time he's there. He is interacting with the participants and connecting with people and doing all kinds of stuff, not when he's only on the stage. And so you want to take into account all the things that you are going to be doing in your work. And so this offer would typically be $900, and I'm offering it to all of you for $750, so with a little bit of a discount. So if you are interested in that, please just reach out to me. And I also I have, let's see, get back to. So you can join my newsletter if you're interested. It just comes out monthly. I don't spam email boxes, and it usually, I try to make it have value. You could just use the QR code to sign up for that. And then I'll just give a second for people to do the QR code. I can go back to it too. But if you prefer to reach out to me by email, this is my email address and my cell and my website. And also feel free to follow me on the socials to just stay in touch because I love to be connected. I'm primarily, it's mostly LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook too, but LinkedIn is where I'm most active. So I'd love to connect with all of you just to see all the fabulous things that you all are doing. And just shoot me an email if you are interested in the speaker package to get your wardrobe all shipshape for the work that you're doing. Does anyone have any other questions?
As you're thinking of questions to it, and just, I'll send all this stuff out too. I'll send out the Nancy, I'm going to copy the offer, and I'll send out your contact info and for the newsletter and everything as well. So if anybody's wondering about
Sounds
that.
good. Yeah, this has been such a pleasure. And I'm actually a member of the ASC. I've been
You
to
are,
one,
yeah.
I've only been able to make it to one session, but I plan to come to more. So I'm looking forward to seeing all of you
Yeah,
more.
Nancy, this has been great. And I know there's a question Anne was wondering, I guess, how far you'll travel to do the wardrobe consulting. She's New Ulm. Is that what you said, Anne? Is that where you were?
Here, I
Yeah.
can share again if I need to, but yeah, let me see. What did Anne say?
Just how far, basically, how far you're willing to travel to do the wardrobe in-house
You're in New
consulting.
Ulm. So what I can definitely come to New Ulm, and what I do when it's, I serve the metro area, and that's just a little bit beyond. And so I usually charge a $25 travel fee just to,
That's
defray the
ridiculous.
gas costs.
That's
Should I charge
How
ridiculous.
more?
dare you? So St. Cloud works too. So St. Cloud works too.
Totally. Yeah. And I would charge a travel fee, but yes, 100%.
She came up to North Branch a couple times for me, so
Yeah, you made it just under the wire, Steve. So
I know.
that's about it.
And
I
it's
do
you
have a,
guys. I mean, I don't know. I don't have a vested interest in this thing other than I just love Nancy. I love the work that she does. But I mean, that wardrobe thing was like incredibly like scary for me initially. Like I'm going to be so embarrassed. But Nancy's just great, but she's also very strong. Like you don't need that. You don't need that. You don't need that. Or do you wear that? Does that fit? No.
That's
And
what I
I
need.
think that's what I needed, frankly, in that whole thing. Sherry had a question. She said too.
okay.
Do you have any guidance when it comes to scarves? Should you just, because I have some longer ones,
Yeah. So you get hot, right? Are you one of the ones
Yeah,
that
now
gets
that you
hot?
say that, it seems kind of ridiculous that
I'm
I'm even
like
asking.
the Perry. So I firmly believe that we should be open and transparent about perimenopause and menopause. So yay,
Yep.
people talking about it. But even though I'm postmenopausal, I still totally have all the hot flashes and symptoms and stuff. And scarves are not your friend when you are in a very on situation. I'm just going to say that. So you could put one around your waist if you wanted to, though, like make it a belt.
Oh.
That could be really fun,
Mhm.
like a silk scarf. Roll it into a long band and make it a belt. That could be a really fun way to add a pop. But I think that also it could get in the way of a mic, but it also, I think it would just start to feel stifling
Okay.
when you're really
Okay.
on.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And
Okay,
Anne, I
bye,
think you had another
Catherine.
question for
Yeah.
you. Did you have a question,
Just-
Anne?
We got about a minute and a half left. If anyone wants to sneak one more question in, or
I was just gonna say, Nancy, when I heard you were in the speakers collective, I was like, okay, we need to bring you down to New Ulm. We have a women's networking event.
Oh,
Having
I'd love
somebody
that.
come and speak about what you're talking about right now. So we're gonna be in touch. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
I'm just
Okay,
thinking the
excellent.
form of executive women in St. Cloud would be a great fit too. We're always
Okay,
looking for
that'd be
get her
folks.
some
great.
speaking
Yeah.
gigs. You guys do it. Get her some events.
Awesome.
She's a great speaker, and obviously she knows her stuff too. So that'd be great.
Yeah. Well,
Yes,
this has been a
baby.
joy, everybody. Karen, did you have a last thought? I thought I saw.
Oh, no.
Okay. Okay.
No, I'm good.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. Talk
Great stuff.
soon.
Thanks, Nancy.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
That's
Thanks,
great.
Steve.
Thank you.
Bye all.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Bye.